So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of Mr. Terupt, and we're going to be working on part 2. When we last left off with Alexia's chapter. Before we start though, I want to make sure you have a nice comfy blanket. I have chosen to be surrounded by birds this time. Get yourself a nice beverage. I have my otter mug, which is super important, because as many as you know, I love otters. I've got my stuffed animal. This time I have a little moose that I got from Yellowstone. And most importantly, little Diego here. He promised he's going to stay awake for the whole story. We'll see. Bookmark. And here we go. So Alexia is a bully. She's your friend 1 second, but your enemy the next. And before we start reading about this, one thing I really like about this book is that it discusses a lot of different personalities that we see at school every day. The characters that we're going to read about, they're not foreign to what we see in an elementary school. A lot of these characters, you are probably thinking of somebody in your head who might be like this. So, if somebody has a different perspective than us, let's try and figure out maybe why they have the perspective by getting into their thinking by reading this book. Okay, Alexia. I was like, I have this new guy for a teacher. That's so cool. Mr. Terupt was nice. He lets us sit in tables, not rows. I was like, no way. Are you serious? And like, the best was I got to sit with my friend Danielle. There was this new girl in our class, Jessica. She wasn't at our table, but I needed to talk to her. I needed to tell her who she could be friends with and who she couldn't. She seemed like she could be pretty cool, even though she carried a book around like a teddy bear. I found her at recess. Outdoor recess is held behind the school. There's a big blacktop area with basketball hoops and hopscotch. There's a playground equipment in another spot and a large field for running around and playing sports, like kickball or football. That's where the gazebo is too, by the edge of the field. I found Jessica sitting alone on the steps of the gazebo. She was reading her book. I was like, what a loser, but I went up to her anyway. Hey, I said. Hi, she said back. You're Jessica, right? Yeah. I blew a bubble with my bubble gum and sat down. Hi, I'm Alexia. My friends call me Lexi. I found a compact mirror in my purse and checked my Rockstar purple lip gloss. Then I was like, where'd you come from? Well, we moved from California, the new girl said. I used to live in California too. Right then I started playing with the stones that lay under my feet, because it's always been a little easier for me to lie when I don't have to look at the person's eyes. We moved because my dad got sick and needed the doctors here. Oh, I'm sorry, Jessica said. She started playing with the stones now too. Listen, I said, you're new here, so let me help you out a little. If you want, that is. And then I snapped my gum. Sure, okay. I stopped playing with the stones and scooted a little closer to her. Do you want a piece of gum? No thanks, she said. Of course not. Little Miss Perfect, I thought to myself. So I put the gum back in my purse. That girl, I said, pointing to Danielle, across the playground? You can't miss her. She's the fat one. I laughed, but Jessica didn't. That's Danielle. Watch out for her. She's like somebody you don't want to be friends with. But don't you sit with her in class? I thought you two were friends. I wasn't expecting this. Usually girls just listen and follow along. I blew a bubble and snapped my gum again. Yeah, she used to be cool, but she's been saying stuff about you, calling you Miss Goody Two-Shoes and Snotty Bookworm. Jessica seemed surprised. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know, she said. Don't worry, I put my arm around her. Stick with me, and I'll help you out. It'll be great. Then recess ended, and that's how the girl war started. Oh, Alexia. All right, this chapter is called Jeffrey. Jeffrey is the one who hates school. The kids in my class are all right. I have to deal with Alexia again, plus her feathered boas and leopard print clothes and her stupid purse. I wonder what kind of makeup she puts on this year. Ugh, I don't like her. I think she's dumb. She thinks she's such a Hollywood star or something. And then there's Luke. I don't mind him. He's just smart and serious about school. And Danielle, she's in my class this year. She's fat. And then there's Peter, a wise guy, total smart aleck. I wanted to tell Terupt that Peter spent all of his time in the bathroom because he was messing around, but Terupt figured it out, even if he was new. He seems smart too. I just don't want him trying to figure me out. I'm no good in school, because school is terrible. Oh, Jeffrey. All right, Danielle's chapter. Remember, Danielle never stands up for herself, and she's really shy. School wasn't so great. My teacher seemed pretty nice, and he could be funny too, but none of that matters when you don't have friends. Lexi had done this stuff to me before. One day she's my friend, the next day she's not. I don't even know why. I'm not mean to her. This year's the worst. Things started out fine. Then one day after recess, Lexi started ignoring me, pretending I wasn't there. She would talk about things right in front of me and leave me out of the conversation. She started telling her stupid fat jokes about me. It was horrible. I cried a lot at home. I'm a little heavy. Well, bigger than heavy, I guess. I don't like saying I'm fat. I don't know why I am. I watch what I eat. I don't have any more than the other girls do at lunch. My mom says that I'll grow into my body. She's not fat. My brother's not fat. Charlie's not fat. Grandma's not fat. Grandpa's not fat. Dad's not fat. I am. Grandma says, "You've got to have some meat on your bones, girl. It's a good thing." Yeah, Grandma, I think. So someone like Lexi can tell fat jokes about me. Is that why it's good? I don't say anything, though. Grandma doesn't get it. Only Mom understands, and I feel a little better when she reassures me that I'll thin out as I grow up. She also tells me that there must be a reason I'm having to deal with this. It's making you a better person, she says, and someday this experience will help you. And that's all great, but I wish I could grow into my body now. We live on a farm. My mom grew up here. My grandma and my grandpa live in their old house next to ours. They help us run the farm still. So my grandma's around a lot, and she wanted to know what was wrong with me today, why I was crying. Anytime I mention Lexi, she gets all mad. I'm going to get into that school and fix that girl, she'd say. No, Grandma. Why are you even still friends with her? She doesn't know how to treat people, especially a real friend. It's not her fault, Grandma. It's the new girl's fault, I said, sticking up for Lexi the way I always do. A new girl that I can't stand, Grandma. If you keep telling yourself that, it won't ever get better, Grandma said. She's a tough woman. The only time I've got friends is when I'm in Lexi's group. Nobody wants to be friends with a fat kid. I don't know what to do. So, that night, Grandma said a prayer with me. We knelt up on my bed, and this is what she said. Please give Danielle the strength to stand up to these mean girls in school, or do what you can to teach Alexia a lesson. If you made her fat, that'd be all right with me. I elbowed my grandma. Grandma? Oh, okay, she said. I just ask that you provide Danielle with some comfort and direction during these tough times. And then we prayed for good weather and for the farm. All right, Anna's chapter. Who's Anna? Her home situation makes her an outcast. Reminds me of the story we read about Mark in The Warrior's Way. I didn't say much in school, and I never raised my hand. That would have been an easy way for people not to notice me. And I didn't want to be noticed. People can be real mean. That's something Mom warned me about. And my mom knows, trust me. I didn't have any close friends, and I wasn't looking for any. My mom was my best friend. Not getting noticed was never a problem for me before. I was always quiet, and I behaved, so the teachers left me alone. I kept my head down and looked at the floor a lot. But I'm a good observer. Mrs. Williams, our principal, winks whenever there's some big surprise coming. It's something I noticed a few years ago. If you keep quiet, you have time to look and listen and take things in. Yeah, that's good water. At the beginning of the year, the first thing you pay attention to is the classroom. We had a nice room, a big one. There was a wall of windows opposite the door. Mr. Terupt's desk was in the corner by those windows. The students' desks were arranged in 5 tables of 4. So, right away, I knew we had a teacher who was into teamwork, and who probably didn't mind a little talking. Otherwise, we would have been in the old-fashioned rows. The front of the room had the blackboard, and the back wall had a whiteboard. Last side of the room had all of our cabinets and a sink, plus a drinking fountain. Most of the room was carpeted except for the side by the sink and the fountain. Our door was right next to the fountain. The other thing, the bigger thing you pay attention to in the beginning is your teacher. especially if he's new like Mr. Terupt. Right away, I could tell that he was a reader, because there were books everywhere in our room. My mom liked that when I told her. Mom's a library assistant in another school. It's a good job. She has the same schedule as I do, so it allows us to ride home together and take some classes for her at night. She's studying art, something she missed out on when she was younger. She's really good at drawing and painting. Mr. Terupt was young and athletic looking. He didn't have any pictures around his desk, and he didn't wear a wedding ring. Mrs. Newberry from across the hall didn't have a wedding ring either, and neither did my mom. Mr. Terupt turned out to be different, though. He noticed me on the first day. It didn't matter that I wasn't raising my hand, because he would say, "Anna, get ready. I'm calling on you next." Or if we were talking about something and there was just one opinion, he would say, "Anna, what do you think?" He wasn't going to let me hide all year, and this made me nervous, but it turned out to be a good thing in the end. All right, and that's a perfect place to pause our story, because the next chapters we're going to read take place in October. So far we've covered about a month of the story, and we've met all the characters, except Mr. Terupt. We've heard about him, but we haven't heard him speak yet. So hopefully that's coming up next. I hope you enjoyed this, and I've changed the angle of the camera to hopefully make it a little bit easier to watch. So if there's anything else I need to fix, reach out, let me know. If you're enjoying this, let me know that as well. If you have any suggestions, other books to read, I'm open to all. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.